Hello, this is Snow White. I've been wanting to make a video about the glyphs that I have found over the past several years for quite a while now, and also the similarities that I've noticed among some of the glyphs. So I hope you enjoy this, and here we go. So I'd like to start out with my all-time favorite glyph, which is this one, which I found on the Upper Eastern Path, and it was right in the middle of the path as I was walking down, probably about halfway down the path. It immediately caught my attention because it is very unique. First of all, it's made up of 3 sticks. This is one stick, this is another, and this is the third one here. And what really caught my attention and what makes it my favorite glyph is the specificness of it and the purposeful nature in which it had to be made. There is absolutely no way that it was made naturally by falling sticks. First of all, I've never seen a shape like this in nature. Also, the fact that, see, these two are separate sticks, but do you see how exactly it mimics this side or mirrors this side? So, that just doesn't happen naturally. That was done with purpose and either to communicate or for artistic purposes. So let's move on to another picture of it here. As you can see, it's very evenly placed, like I said, and um, just very specific. And it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. And this is the last picture I have of it. Um, it just puts me in awe. I've never, like I said, I've never seen anything like it. And I mentioned at the beginning that I was going to show similarities between some of the glyphs that I found, but with this one, I've never seen anything like it, so there's nothing to compare it to. My second favorites are these two. I found this one on our property above Creepy Valley on the hill on October 31st, 2016. I found this one in North Carolina on May 4th, 2017. Now I'd like to point out the similarities that I see in the two. The top one has this A shape, and so does the bottom one. And there are 2 triangles in each one. This one has one here and a secondary one here. Same for the one on the top. Triangle here and a secondary one to the lower right. So besides the similarity of the shapes of these two glyphs that impressed me, what impressed me was the fact that they were found 7 months apart and 600 miles apart. So makes you wonder. I mean, it's 2 different groups of Bigfoot, so why are they so similar? I'll let you go ahead and think about that on your own. The triple X glyph. I found this one down over the hill from our house by our spring, and I love it. It just happens to be also where Jim thinks he saw a Bigfoot standing down there not very long before I found this. So I'm going to go into detail here in a minute, but just go ahead and take a look at it. It's very impressive. Let's take a look at some of the specifics of this glyph. It's very impressive if you look at it closely. Number one, these 2 parallel branches that are stretched out to the sides. And then what forms the triple X are 4 branches. This one is connected with this one. That's all one branch. But this one is separate and laid over top of this one, but it goes underneath this one and over top of this one. And this one's also tucked behind that little knob on this branch that's laying on the left side. So that's pretty complicated if you really look at it, and I think it's incredible. It's one of my favorites. It's hard to pick a favorite, but I guess this would be third on my list, but it's definitely a good one. Lines and boxes. Now we'll start with these 3 lines that I found in the yard, and they don't look too impressive until you consider what's coming next. Now these 3 pokeberry stems were found in the yard just down from where Jim parks his truck. And as you can see, they're all lined up parallel to each other, and there's even 2 more down at the bottom, it looks like. And there's a close-up of it. And they just appeared there. I mean, nobody did it. It was just very, very odd. Now this was down in the path, the upper eastern path, going down into the east side. As you can see, it's the pattern again of the 3 sticks or twigs or whatever lined up, and this time it's also in the shape of a box or a rectangle. This is another view of it. Again, 3 lines, and then there's lines going in the opposite direction, and it forms a box. Above that too are 2 X's, by the way. Now this was a big box made of logs that I found down in the west side. It's made of 3 logs lined up parallel to each other, and then there's 2 perpendicular crossing over them, and it all makes a big box with lines. So these are all very similar to each other, all different sizes. And this one coming up is a small one that I found down in the east side, down by the dump, down in an area where they hang out all the time. And like I said, it's smaller, but it's got the same pattern. It's got 3 sticks going parallel to each other and 2 going perpendicular across it. So very interesting stuff. X's. This little X made of leaves was right in front of the gifting board and the sandbox that was there. It just appeared there. I believe it was overnight, and very interesting. I don't know what it means, but it's definitely a glyph made by them. I just found this X on the gifting log out back, where I used to gift with them when this all started. This is a suspended X that was down by the dump area next to Creepy Valley. And this is another suspended X. It was just out in our yard on the other side of the fence in the field. And this is the close-up of where it crosses. It's locust branches. That's my favorite little X I've found. The 4 or pointer or arrow, whatever you want to call it. I found this on the west side, way up on a hill. And as you can see, it makes a 4 or a pointer arrow. It was right across the path, and it's made of 3 separate sticks, a big limb, one with 2 parts to it, and then one that crosses both of those to form the 4 or arrow. And there's no way that this happened naturally. Pointers. This first one I found back in 2015, back by the gifting log. It's a pointer made up of 5 different sticks which have been broken and placed as you see it here to form this arrow. And it, like I said, it pointed back towards the gifting log. Now this next one was found in our front yard, and it's made of 3 sticks formed into an arrow or pointer and pointing at our garage, also pointing to a spot where I found where they were playing in the dirt on our sidewalk. Now next up we're going to look at some comparison photos of the two to notice the similarities of how they, I mean, they're made of a different amount of sticks, but to me, they seem very similar to each other. Now this next one off to the right there, you see 2 sticks formed in a pointer, and it's pointing to where they were scooping the dirt that day. And this last one is a pointer that I found beside an A, and it was up where the air starter sound is heard a lot. And it's made of 3 sticks or branches. Triangles. Triangles have been the most abundant of all of the glyphs that I have found on our property and elsewhere. Such as this one, which is found on the west side on the path. This one was found up in the area that I call the bedding area, and it was actually two triangles beside each other. And with this one, sometimes they have a little something added to it, like this one has the branch at the top, which makes it even a more interesting triangle. This one I thought was very pretty, and this one I found in the snow. This one I also thought was pretty, and kind of reminds me of that other one that I thought was pretty too. Now this one was out in the field away from the tree line, so that rules out the possibility that it just fell this way, along with the fact that it's made up of more than just 1 or 2 branches. This is made up of 3 sticks actually, so that's showing the detail of it. And notice how, you know, the stick that crosses going up and down actually goes underneath the top stick. Sometimes they're more basic like this one, but it was larger. And then I come across little complicated ones like this one. It's made up of 4 sticks, but they're like nestled together, and actually kind of makes 2 triangles with the 4 sticks. So I thought this one was really interesting. Now this one was made with a Y stick, and they just placed a stick right across the end of it to make the triangle part. This was just up from the pond on the east side of the property. It's another view of it. This was a very large one on the east side of the property, and this was a small weird one. Yeah, I find them all over the place. Now these next 2 could be glyphs all on their own, because this has a triangle in it, but as you can see, it's much more complicated than that. Looks like it's made up of about 4 or 5 branches. And then this next one is one of my all-time favorites. It's just beautiful. Of course, it has triangles incorporated into it too, but there's much more to it than that. Just go ahead and take a look at the complexity of this one. Tridents. Now these first two tridents were found in the front yard, and they were found along with some other weird kind of unusual stick formations. And I haven't found very many tridents, but these two were, I believe this one was pointing at the other one. But like I said, these aren't really glyphs, but I wanted to include them because of the similarities, especially between the two that I'm showing you right now. This one was found along the path in Creepy Valley, right along the side, and this next one was found on the other side of the property along a path, and there was a time difference, but I don't remember when I found this one for sure. So I wanted to show you with them together for comparison just how similar they are. I was so shocked when I found the one on the bottom, because I had previously seen the one in Creepy Valley, and I saw that one. I thought that looks just like the one I saw in Creepy Valley. So yeah, that amazes me. Right angles and Y sticks. Now these next glyphs are all going to contain a Y stick with something placed at a right angle with it. Now this first picture is to show you the location that I found the first one. It was in the front yard, right in front of the window where we sit. Our couch is just right inside that window. Now you can see that it has a Y stick with a branch, probably from that stick. It looks like it was broken and placed at a right angle to it. This is a close-up of where the two would meet. This next one is a Y stick with a leaf placed across it at a right angle. And then this one is a Y stick with two separate sticks placed at right angles to it, one at the bottom and one up at the top in the V part of the Y. Now this is two Y sticks placed at right angles to each other. Remember, these were all found in my yard. This one is a little Y stick with another stick placed across it. It's not quite a right angle, but it's very similar, so I included it. Also found in the front yard. Now the next set of pictures shows all four of them together so that you can see the similarities between all four. I'll just go ahead and let you take a look at that. Odd shapes. Now these are some that I have seen in our yard and elsewhere, so I'll explain as we go. Now these first two were both found in the yard, actually the side yard, and the top one looks like a Big Dipper shape to me, and it's made of two separate sticks. The one on the bottom is also made of two separate sticks, and just the angles and stuff of it looks similar to me to the top one. And they were found pretty close at to the same time. These next two were also in our yard and found near the same time. And to me, they look similar. This one was found in the woods on the hill up above Creepy Valley in a new area. It's made of bark, and it's extremely interesting, I think. It almost looks like an airplane, but I know that's not what they're meaning, but it's what it looks like to me. It's cool. This one was in the yard, and it's made of 3 separate sticks, and the one clear to the right is actually a trident. This was a branch, and there's 2 Y sticks laid across it at the same angle. This one was in the side yard beside the garage, and to me it looks like it might be in the shape of a bird. I don't know for sure. Let me know what you guys think. And it was woven together with vines and stick, and also a piece of like grass or a stem. So it's pretty intricately woven. Now this one was found in the front yard, and to me it resembles the last one I just showed you. And notice also the strategic placement of that leaf. It's a very odd looking, interesting Y stick. Never saw one like that before. It looks like it was all one piece, but it looks like it got broken on the left side. And this is where it was located in the front yard, which was very near where I'd found another glyph. This one, it's not really a glyph, but they put the piece of grass or a stem, I'm not sure which it was, in front of the gifting board on March 2nd. It kind of blew away, and I went out on March 15th and they had put it back. So it means something. I just don't know what it means, but it's really cool. Now these 3 I thought were interesting in the way that they are placed. The placement with the Y stick and a stick either under it or beside it or on it. So let you go ahead and take a look at that for a few seconds. And this next one is made up of a Y and a T, but it's made with 3 different branches. Actually, the Y is one branch, and the T is made up of a leaf and a stick, and there's also 2 sticks off to the side put at an angle pointing at the Y and the T. So that's pretty interesting. I don't know what it means, but it's very cool. This was found deep down in the woods, and it is made of a stick stuck in the ground. It's about 3 or 4 feet long, and one about the same size put at a perpendicular angle so that it makes a T. This was found in our backyard, made of an old fork, like a camping fork, which I don't know where that came from, and a stick laid on top of it, and that makes a T also. Next, we're going to move on to leaves, and I think that they manipulate leaves like they do sticks to make glyphs or whatever you might want to call it, pictures, which I'll explain that in a minute here. But this I found on the side yard next to the porch where I gift, and there were 3 leaves on each side put at an angle. And they were very specifically placed, which I'm going to explain in a minute. But here I am standing, my shadow is right in the middle, and the 3 leaves on each side are at that very specific angle. Now, when I looked really close at this, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Each side matches. The first leaf in line on each side is a green leaf that was turned upside down. Second leaf is a dead one, and the third leaf is another green one, but right side up. So when I saw that, I knew that that had to be placed that way. There is no way at all that that could have just happened to fall from the tree and land like that. That was done with intelligence and with purpose. So I know they do mess with leaves. And this was in the side yard at the other side of the house this past fall. It looks like they cleared away leaves and they made, I don't know, to me it looks like sort of an M shape, but this was another angle of it. And then off to the right from that was another area where it looked like the leaves were cleared away in a couple spots. But the next picture I'm going to show you is the most interesting one. It's round with two, I don't know, it almost looks like a head and shoulders, but I don't know what it is. If they were sitting there and they cleared it away, or I don't know. It's very interesting. This next one is called the cow pasture glyph because that's where I found it. It's right here. So our house is just past the fence, down the drive there. So it was very close to our driveway, but just in the cow pasture, and it's a very interesting one. It was made up of 4 sticks, actually 3. I think the one that's crossing to the right was broken at the top to make the triangle at the top. So I really, really like this one. I think it's complex and really interesting. And the fact that it was just right there beside the driveway, I mean, they were sitting there making that at some point. It just kind of blows me away. Now, next we're going to move on to A's. And I don't have good pictures of these ones, but this was at the side of the house. It was there for quite a while. And as you can see, it's an A. Some viewers pointed that out to me. I had noticed it, but I just hadn't photographed it. And then this was in front of the porch, another small A, and this was found at the same time as the other one. This one was up in near where that cow pasture glyph was. It was an A with an arrow beside it. Now this is a very special glyph because it was found in the back of my husband's truck. It's made with a log branch that was beside our tree. They put that in his truck, and they also took the 2 sticks, put them against it, and they put that 5-hour energy cap on it. So it's very artistic, I think. I don't know if they made it for Jim or what, but it's really neat. And it reminded me of these 2 sticks that I found in the yard where they were kind of curved towards each other. North Carolina. This one is one of my favorites. It's got that L shape with the angled branch in the corner, and then there's also the stick laying across it and one coming down from the top. So that makes a very interesting shape. Now this was basically just 2 branches making a T, but they are very placed at like right angles. It's like very straight, perpendicular to each other. And this was right near that last one, and it has that same L shape with the um, angled branch in the corner, which I'm going to show you in a minute to compare the 2 glyphs that were found at separate times. But very, very interesting. And, these were all found in the same area, so it seems like different clans make different shapes sometimes. This was also right in that same area. And now we're looking at the two together found at different times. And especially notice that angled branch in the corner. And so I think that glyphs, along with sticks stuck in the ground, are two of the most sure ways to know that there are Bigfoot in the area. Especially whenever you know that it could not have naturally occurred or that a person did it. Like this stick that I found stuck in the ground in the back of our property, placed in the path. It's 3 or 4 feet long and placed at an angle, stuck deeply into the ground. So I find this all over our property, and I'm going to just show you a little slideshow of ones that I found. This is that same one looking at it from down the hill. So thank you all for watching and enjoy the rest of the slideshow of sticks stuck in the ground. Before I conclude, I just wanted to add this in. I just found this glyph today, actually tonight at about 10 after 7. It was in the side yard beside the garage, and as you can see, it's made up of 3 sticks, all parallel to each other with a Y stick laying perpendicular. So it's very similar to the other glyphs that I found in our yard.